From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 16th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.47 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,231 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $1,232. Antiwar.com reports defense officials familiar with the situation say that the U.S. will soon deploy another 1,000 ground troops into Syria, with the deployments expected to be part of the buildup ahead of the invasion of Raqqa, the capital city of the Islamic State. This 1,000 troops is in addition to other recent deployments to Syria announced by the Pentagon, and when completed is expected to bring the number of U.S. troops in Syria overall to nearly 2,000. The official U.S. limit of the number of troops that can be in Syria is 503, a number long since surpassed. The exact timing of the new deployment is uncertain, but officials say it will likely be in the next few weeks. This deployment appears to be in excess of the 2,500 troops to be sent to Kuwait, which are expected to be drawn on by commanders in both Iraq and Syria to raise their respective numbers. While these recent deployments are a lot larger than the near-weekly announcements of new deployments during the Obama era, the fact that several deployments are being announced in close succession suggests the Pentagon has continued the trend of splitting the deployments into segments to avoid announcing the overall size in one shot. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports, as expected, the Federal Reserve on Wednesday raised benchmark interest rates another quarter point. The Federal Reserve voted to raise the federal funds rate to the 0.75% to 1% range, the second time it has done so in 3 months. Wednesday's action represents the third time the Federal Open Market Committee has raised rates since the financial crisis. The federal funds rate remained near zero for years until policymakers voted for an increase in December 2015. The next hike came last December, and FOMC left rates unchanged at its February 1st meeting. The Fed said in a statement, job gains remain solid and the unemployment rate was little changed in recent months. Household spending has continued to rise moderately, while business fixed investment appears to have firmed somewhat. Inflation, always a key indicator for the Fed's policymaking decision, has gotten closer to the board's 2% objective in recent quarters when energy and food prices are factored in, according to officials. The Fed said at its last meeting that it expects to raise rates 3 times in 2017. The Fed will likely meet to vote on another possible hike on April 26th and 27th. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports just hours before President Donald Trump's revised travel ban was set to go into effect, a U.S. federal judge in Hawaii on Wednesday issued an emergency halt to the order's implementation. The action was the latest legal blow to the administration's efforts to temporarily ban refugees as well as travelers from 6 predominantly Muslim countries, which the president has said is needed for national security. Trump lashed out at the judge's ruling, saying it makes us look weak. Trump signed a new ban on March 6th in a bid to overcome legal problems with a January executive order that caused chaos at airports and sparked mass protest before a Washington judge stopped its enforcement in February. U.S. District Judge Derek Watson put an emergency stop to the new order in response to a lawsuit filed by the state of Hawaii, which argued that the order discriminated against Muslims in violation of the U.S. Constitution. Judge Watson concluded in his ruling that while the order did not mention Islam by name, a reasonable objective observer would conclude the executive order was issued with a purpose to disfavor a particular religion. Trump, speaking at a rally in Nashville, called his revised executive order a watered-down version of his first. Trump called the judge's block unprecedented judicial overreach and said he will take the case as far as it needs to go, including to the U.S. Supreme Court. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.